So, first of all, tell me who you are and what your scene is.
Amber Mitchell, we were in the Cloisters. Karina Foley, we were in the Cloisters.
Nathan Grumble, Cloisters.
And what was your scene? What did you have to do?
Well, the scene was actually called The Infected. It changed a few times because it started with parents, two parents with their child, and we were planning to have the baby taken away from us because the baby was infected.
Okay.
And that went on for a few weeks, but it just wasn't working.
Right.
We just couldn't get it right, so it changed to just one person infected, which ended up being me, and Nathan and Amber being the quarantine members.
Okay. As in, you were there destined to keep her away from everybody else?
What it was is, so when the audience kind of came, we had army or actors in army suits, so they would, the army actors would stop the members, the audience members, and then Karina would kind of appear, and an army person like you get in line as well. So then we put them all in a line, and then
so it looked like I was a player.
Yeah.
Right.
So we made it look like she was a player. Then gave a little speech about how everyone needs to be checked to see if they have the virus before they can leave. Then we'll check them, and then when we checked Karina, it ended up finding out that she had the virus, and she needs to be killed. So we'll then end up taking her to the back to kill her. So the quarantine members would check, we called ourselves the CDC, Centre for Disease Control.
Yeah.
So the CDC members would check the audience and Karina, but then if there was a problem, the army people would then deal with the problem, as in taking Karina to the back and getting rid of her.
Originally, I was going to be shot, but on the day, we got given these bats, we wasn't sure why, but then when Ella took us to our area, she explained that it was going to be a bat that hits me instead. And when the bat would hit the floor, not me, blood would splatter on the plastic sheeting that we had in front, because they wouldn't actually see it happen, they'd just see the blood and hear it all. And but we wasn't originally having zombies, but we had zombies in the end, and I think having the zombies kind of helped because it got the audience more in an adrenaline sort of mood, because they were trying to run from them, but then we were stopping them from going on further. And it was like that constant frustration, but they're right there, and we're trying to get away.
So it sounds like there's quite a lot of you, so whilst there's only 3 of you in front of me, the actual group that you were working with was quite large. So how did you work with that, with the rest of the actors then?
Well, during rehearsals, when it was a struggle to kind of get through it, and then on the night we were told how many actors we were going to have, and then so we spoke to actors, we briefed them on how the scene was going to go, and for the first time, the first one, it didn't pan out the way we expected, because our scene was roughly a minute to 2, and the first one happened in 20 seconds.
The way we explained it to them, it didn't happen.
Yeah, so it was kind of,
different.
it was the first one was the trial run kind of, and then we kind of learned from that one. It was okay, this is what's going to happen and that. But then we were also told that on the night that we were going to have zombies, which I was a bit worried, but at the end of the day it did work. There were a few occasions where it didn't, as in one where, because the army members were kind of meant to be kind of shielding the zombies, but when the army members were busy in the scene, the zombies kind of got a bit too close.
And they were this close.
And then there was one time where they got a bit too close and the players ran off during the scene.
Oh right, okay. So mid-scene you lost your audience.
Yeah.
And how did you deal with that?
It was kind of because we had so many other actors, that it was kind of a strong, but I think we managed to get them back or something like that. They were a bit back and stuff. They were really not violent with words towards them, you need to be here. And there was another situation towards the end of the night where we just had random zombies just walk into our scene and just kind of stand there, and the other audience were listen, they're trying to get away, and they couldn't say anything, and they just basically ruined our scene because the zombie was there, just standing there, and they were talking back to us, and it was kind of hard to deal with, but we just carried on with the scene anyway, and then afterwards we were a bit what was zombies?
So where did the other zombies come from then? Why were they interacting?
They just seemed like they were on a break. It was like they just took it upon themselves to take a break from whatever they were doing. And that one was a big problem because I was given like a little speech, and in the speech it kind of said, I said, if you come in any contact with a zombie, please say now. And obviously, I wasn't expecting no audience member was going to say, oh yes, and that was part of the scene. But when they came in once I said that line, and they decided to say, yes, I've been, which obviously put a hindrance because they wasn't actually part of the scene in any way. Yeah. And when they spoke, it kind of made the audience members aware of that they had their zombie makeup on, that they were there. So yeah, it kind of became a problem. But
so how did you overcome that? What did you do?
One of our army members ended up just speaking to them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they tried telling the zombies in our scene that they weren't allowed to be there, but they were, and it was our scene. And there was a few situations where people realised that I wasn't in their group, and they were kind of like, hang on a second.
Yeah.
And there was this one guy that was a bit, and he just was going, hang on a minute, and Nathan was trying to talk, but I was trying, and then that made it difficult for me to cough while Nathan was speaking, because then they'd be like, she's infected, and some people were like, oh, that's so obvious what's going to happen now, and it was like, sort of thing. I just had to ignore them. Like, some people were like trying to laugh with me and joke because of Nathan, and I was like, sort of thing, trying to look like I wasn't acting, and then it was really difficult because some of them were so out of it that when I started coughing, they were like, Nathan was like, oh, you've got a cough, can you come out here? And this guy was in front of me, so he didn't realise, and he was like, oh, you've got a cough. Oh my God, who are you? And we were like, who is this girl? And then some of the actors in our group were like, was you with her? And they were like, no, I've never seen her. And they were getting really defensive about it. And it was kind of like...
Did that all add to the excitement of that particular scene, though?
Yeah.
That was my favourite part of the scene, the different reactions of people, how they reacted to finding out. Like, because some of them did realise that Karina, because when Karina would be on her ones, just trying to get into the crowd. Some of them realised that she was part of that she was an actor, but some of them didn't. So it's like the realisation, so, oh, she has a virus. So it was like some of them were very vocal about it, like, oh my days, but some of them it was just their facial expression. So that was definitely my favourite part of the whole scene.
One boy saw heard me coughing, he went, and he was trying to cough as well. So then Ella was like, all right, you come out then, because you've obviously got the infection, and he was a bit like, oh. Sort of thing on the backside, and one girl noticed me straight away. She went, she wasn't here a second ago. Excuse me, she wasn't here a second ago, and it was like, this is the scene sort of thing. But
did you enjoy the fact that you were having to really think on your feet though and adapt what you were doing? Was that part of the challenge, and did you enjoy it, or were you a bit?
So like halfway through, like because Ella was in the scene, but Ella had to do like rotations of other groups. It meant we had to like change it a bit, so we changed who was doing what, which meant it gave us all like a different idea of what we were doing. So we all had different views on the parts of the performance.
Would you change anything else differently then? So moving forward, obviously you had quite a few changes up to the actual nights and during the scenes. Would you change anything else now looking back at it?
Personally, I think I know it was a bit because they all had these bands. The players had these green bands, but I didn't have one, so it looked even more like I was an actor because I just came out of nowhere, had no band, and I was the one that was taken away. Also think I should have planned the scene to have more people in the first place, because I think that scared us when we were told there was going to be a massive scene. We were like, oh my God, how are we going to do this? Because we planned it so small.
We planned it with an extra 2 or 3 actors, and we got 8.
And was that because of the way that the brief was set out for you, or is that your automatic go-to? Was that when you were planning it, you didn't expect there to be much
no,
of a big audience?
Well, it wasn't like the audience, how many audience members. That was like we were told that okay, there was going to be some small groups audience and some big groups audience. But just with the actors, like it wasn't a problem because our scene we knew it would be really improvised on the night. So as long as you were willing to improvise, it didn't really matter how much audience, or how much actors we had. We just didn't know how much actors we were going to have. But like, I wouldn't like change anything. The only part I would personally change was the fact that when Karina was going into the back to be killed, everyone was like,